guess I ate. I can probably swim.
You should wait 30 minutes.
Okay, now tell me what to do. Cannonball! Cramp! Oh, I have a cramp.
I can probably hit the green from here.
Probably.
Can I get a mulligan?
Ready to go?
Hey, are you sure you're okay to drive?
Yeah, I'm pretty sober. Yeah, I'm probably okay.
Probably okay isn't okay, especially when it comes to drinking and driving. If you're drinking, call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You might feel like there's too many problems in the world, or that, you as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old can't really make a difference.
It's not always about you. It's not just one person. It's a group. It's a team.
Just that simple act is transforming someone else's life.
It's one of the best feelings in the world.
It'll just make you feel so good about yourself.
I'd do anything to convince you just to be a part of this.
Visit the website actionteam.org.
The official radio station of Super Bowl 56. Powered by Pepsi. WGSX Nathan 104.3. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Kansas City wins it 42-36 in overtime.
The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air.
And the kick is good. The Rams are going to the NFC Championship game.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome into the Rib Crib Radio Room, and thank you for listening today, ladies and gentlemen. I've got old school L.A. Adam Goff over here on the board, and myself, Boston T, here. It's a beautiful Monday morning after an unbelievable weekend of underdogs overcoming the favorites. So thank you guys very much for joining us here again in the Rib Crib Radio Room. Call or text us anytime today at 850-215-6290. We are on the radio at 104.3 FM. Of course, we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our TV partner, Blab TV. Be sure to like and share our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Download our new app and register at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. And guys, while you're registering, don't forget that we have our big $1,000 giveaway twice a week that you listen in at 8:45 in the morning and 4:45 here on our show, and get your special keyword and put it in on the app. And try to get that $1,000 big prize coming to you.
The Grand Slam of Cash.
Very exciting. And I think we're doing $2,000 giveaways every week.
Yeah. So there's going to be two potential winners every week. All you got to do is get that code word, enter it in, and you got a chance to be walking away with a nice, cool grand.
It's a free $1,000. Yeah. That's amazing.
L.A., I hope you're getting in on it.
I'm kind of like on the fence on that because I'm like, okay, I kind of work here. I know I don't get paid to do it, but I don't want to be that guy that, like,
assistant, right?
Well, but the thing is like, I don't want to sit here and okay, then Randy's like, hey, congratulations, Adam Goff. Well, let's see. He works there once a week, maybe twice at the most. And here he is getting $1,000. I don't want to take that away from somebody else, one of our great listeners.
That's very true. Although I got to be honest with you, you certainly deserve it. We greatly appreciate
it.
I
appreciate that.
And especially filling in on days like today where, David Hayes, our primo numero uno, the big guy in the building right here. Unfortunately, he was still out sick, whether it was from LA's boys whipping him and him being out because either the Bengals shut down Henry and his immune system. I'm not entirely certain what happened. But
he was fine when I left his house Saturday night, so I don't know what transpired between then and now. But, but he called me this morning and said, hey, can you help me out? So here I am. And who day?
So a big day today, guys. But before we get started on all the football talk, let's go ahead and let you guys know that today's trivia portion of the show will be brought to you by Merchant Management Group. And if you're a business owner in Panama City, take a minute to check out how much you spent on your credit card processing in 2021. This year in 2022, if you want to eliminate those fees, then call our friends at the Merchant Management Group at 850-747-0664. And they're located right here in downtown Panama City, and they'll take care of you guys today. So, old school. You want to tell us what the trivia question is for today?
Well, the trivia question today is
terribly written.
How many playoff losses? Oh, how many playoff losses does Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers.
Did I say Adam?
Yeah.
I was thinking of you.
Yeah.
Of Aaron Rodgers.
I've never played in the playoffs.
How many playoff losses does Aaron Rodgers have
in his career?
In his career. So the total number of losses that Aaron Rodgers has. We know he's got one Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But
how many losses does he have?
The total number of losses.
Right.
Well, we know that. I mean, that's a fairly easy one because we know 4 of them were to the same team.
That's right.
But there are.
How many others were there? How many total are there?
There might be a few other ones out
there. So if you guys want to call in and do the merchant management trivia question today, just call in 850-215-6290 right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. And let us know what you guys think. And then afterwards, if you get it right, we'll have you text the number and decide on which one of these 5 great prizes you can get. And there'll be $25 e-gift certificates for either Cafe Del Mundo, which is the new cafe down in the Cove, Empowerment Cafe, which is a new restaurant at Gulf Coast State College. There's King Kong Milk Tea and Smoothie Bar, which is a new smoothie bar out on Panama City Beach. Shore Dogs is a nice place right there that does a great special on Fridays with a shrimp boil is fantastic. And Sombreros Mexican Grill, which is also new out there on PCB. So call in, let us know what your answer is for trivia, and we'll get you one of these $25 gift cards.
Oh, and also, before we get started, just want to bring up something that's really cool coming up on January the 28th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. out at Bay Point Golf Club. It's the Trivia Night and Taco Bar. And Ryan Mulvey is going to be hosting that. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's $15.95 per person. Teams of 2, 3, 4, or 5. The price includes the taco bar and the prizes. It's a great way to win some money and have some fun at the same time. Out at Bay Point Golf Club on January the 28th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. The Trivia Night and Taco Bar at Bay Point Golf Club.
Sounds awesome.
That sounds like a lot of fun, man. I love that.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's going to be prizes for first, second, and third place. Whew, can't beat that deal.
Absolutely not. Well, let's get into these headlines today, guys. Obviously, like I said, there's a lot going on in the football world, and we'll dive in to all 4 of the big playoff games that we had, the divisional playoff round, in each of our segments coming up throughout the day. But let's start off, for me, of course, being a huge Brady fan, let's get in there and just let's talk about it. He says he's undecided as to whether or not he's going to retire.
But this was weird. I mean, and I know I used to not like him at all whatsoever.
Until I became a Bucs fan.
Until I became a Bucs fan.
Right.
And now, he's my guy. Right. He's my guy. But it was weird because even when he was in his last season with the Patriots, all we heard all year long is he going to be retiring? Is he going to be moving on? What's he going to be doing? What's he going to be doing? And then all this year we kept hearing he's going to play till he's 45. He's going to play till he's 50. He's going to play. He's going to play. He's going to play. And then all of a sudden over the weekend, there starts being this murmuring that if he doesn't win this game, this might be it for him. This might be the last game he ever plays. And I'm like, where did this come from? I mean, this is so different from what it was before.
It's seemingly out of left field.
It just came out of nowhere.
Right.
That all of a sudden this could be it.
Right.
This could be it
and
for
you would
the
think,
greatest of all time. Oh,
and you
no
would
way.
think after last year, it would have been the optimal time, right? Because he goes to Tampa, he leaves Bill Belichick, wins the Super Bowl on the road, doing it on the road the entire time, other than being at home for the Super Bowl, which was the first time we'd ever seen it, and he can go out on top and just ride off into the sunset. And then I'm like you, after this year losing the divisional round, granted with all the injuries and everything else that transpired throughout the season, but why would he retire after this year?
Yeah.
I mean, it was his greatest statistical year of his career.
And this, in no way does this loss that they incurred yesterday, the Bucs, in no way did Tom have anything to do with that loss. I mean, Tom played he didn't play his best game, but he sure didn't play his worst game by any means.
No. I mean, he had the one bad interception in the first half.
Right.
But outside of that, I mean.
But when you're down 2 touchdowns with less than 3 minutes and you hit Mike Evans for a touchdown, and here you
55 yards.
Here we go
and it was
again.
on the money, too.
I mean, that throw was beautiful.
That was a deal for dime.
It was a dime, absolutely.
I mean, it was, and I'm thinking, okay, here we go. This might be the time when he surpasses what he did against the Falcons, and then fumble, And they're back in the game again. Every time you look up, fumble.
Yeah, just unbelievable.
And then, Cooper Cup and just craziness of the weekend was wild. And just don't see Tom Brady riding off into the sunset, the greatest quarterback of all times, calling it a career after that game.
I think it's just something that's been coming up due to age, right? Every single year, is this going to be his last year? Yeah. But this year, it's a little bit more in depth because I think last year after he won the Super Bowl, immediately he said, I'm coming back next year, definitely.
Right.
And he had another year on his contract.
Right. And when asked this time, I'm not sure yet. Let me decide with my family, so automatically it's going to be a big deal. But before we go into further discussion with that, let's see who we've got on the phone line here, guys. You're at the Afternoon Underdogs. Who do we got here?
Derek.
Hey, Derek. How's it going today?
Oh, man. Working. Well,
we're glad that you're listening while you're working. We can keep you occupied.
Yes, sir.
All right. So the question of the day is, how many playoff losses does Aaron Rodgers have?
9. 11-9.
Very close. Very close.
That ain't it.
Thank you very much for calling in, Derek. We greatly appreciate it. Very close, though,
but not
sir.
Quite the answer we were looking for. Close.
All right. So now back on to Brady. I agree with you, especially the point like you're saying, Adam. After coming off of the Super Bowl victory last year and then amassing his greatest statistical year in history, 22 years in, he's only had, maybe 2011, maybe one other season where he had 5,000 yards at all. And he blew that out of the water by well over 100 yards, I believe it was. So, unbelievable statistical season for him to, finish off on such a close game like that. I just don't think that that's the way that he would want to go out.
I don't see it. I really don't. And it makes total sense to me that he would take a few weeks, talk with his wife, talk with his family, and make a decision. But what's weird about this is it's just been so quiet up until this past weekend. And then all of a sudden, we start hearing rumblings that this could be it for him. And I just don't see that happening.
And, people keep bringing up the family issue with his son going into high school and whatnot. And I think that's a cop-out. I don't think that's the reason that you would go out. Not after 22 years.
It's not like his kids they've been involved in other things throughout his playing career. It's not like that he hasn't seen him, he hasn't been a part of it. I just don't know. It just seems to me like it's a little bit like they're trying to make something out of this.
Which, anytime you can have one of the two big guys' names in your mouth and having their conversation about them, that's going to keep the game going. That's going to keep our conversations going throughout the entirety of the spring, most likely, while we're waiting on whether or not the Major League Baseball decides to have a season. We talked, more than we probably should have about Aaron Rodgers last year, so at least we'll have a little bit of Brady to throw in there as well this year, because Lord knows that we'll be discussing both of them.
Yeah, and the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, was that his last game as a Packer?
Right, or maybe even at all.
Or does he make the decision to go be a Jeopardy host? Yeah. Or whatever it is he's going to be.
Somebody as competitive as him going out on a loss like that. 0 touchdowns.
No touchdowns, no really anything other than
relatively poor
a strange wave to the crowd as he walked off. That's it. That's the end of the. I don't know.
If this is going to be your last game, your very last game, you can't at least get a haircut. Come on, AR.
But we saw what like when Ben played his last game at Steelers for the Steelers.
At Heinz Field, yeah.
They all taking pictures. He had his family out on the field with him. He kind of knew, okay, this is the end. Aaron Rodgers walking off, waving to the crowd. I don't know. It just didn't look like Aaron Rodgers going away.
Well, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, we have another caller on the line. Caller, who do we got here?
My name's Travis.
Hey, Travis, how you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for calling in to the merchant management question of the day. The trivia question is, how many playoff losses does Aaron Rodgers have now?
7.
No. Also close, but not quite. Thanks for calling in, Travis. We appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, we got a couple minutes left.
So far we have 7.
7 and 9 are
7
the
and 9
two answers thus far.
And those are incorrect.
Correct.
Yeah. All right.
It's correct that they are incorrect. Well, we've got about 2 minutes here, and we'll jump right into UFC 270. It was a great show this weekend, if anybody got to watch it. If not, I'll quickly discuss some of the things that happened.
What was your take on it?
on the championship, the final 2 bouts were probably the best 2 bouts of the entire event.
Of the card?
Yeah, Brandon Moreno and Davison Figueiredo fought their 3rd fight of the trilogy. Both of them had split before, Moreno being the victor of the last one, taking the flyweight belt. So seeing these guys come in and have a full 5-round fight that they had, and then to see Davison come and get the belt back on a unanimous decision was pretty awesome.
Right.
There was a lot of punches thrown in that one. And we got to see the opposite in the Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane fight. We really thought that, Francis was going to go in there and just throw a ton of haymakers. And we saw it be a relatively even match. Some people said that Gane was winning after the first 2, but I think the majority of people thought that Francis had the first 2, more accuracy on his strikes, while Gane landed a couple more, Cyril Gane. But then Francis kind of switched things up, and he's not really known for taking people down because he's so strong, but that doesn't mean he's not capable. And we've seen in his first 13 fights in the UFC that he only had 3 takedown attempts because he's knocked out so many guys.
Right.
But he had 5 in this fight.
Wow.
He had 2 successful takedowns in the 3rd, 2 successful takedowns in the 4th. And in the 4th, he had to fight off a couple of submission attempts by Gane. But that was about all Gane did in the last 3 rounds. And then I think Ngannou really dominated standing up in the 5th round, and that's why he got the unanimous decision.
Real quick, we got another line, another caller on the line.
We got just enough time. Who do we got on the line?
Hey, this is Tony. How you guys doing today?
Tony, how you doing? Thanks for joining us.
Good. Enjoy your show very much.
Great,
very much. Always listen to it on the way home every day.
Well, fantastic. We appreciate you listening, and we really appreciate you calling in. So for our Merchant Management Group trivia question of the day, the question is, how many playoff losses does Aaron Rodgers have?
I believe with the loss this weekend, that put him at 8.
No, very close.
Ooh.
All right, guys. So far we've had 7, 8, and 9 knocked off the list for total number of losses for Aaron Rodgers. Give us a call in the next break, after this break, to see if you have the answer in the next segment.
Weather forecast: overnight clouds will lower and thicken, chance of showers by dawn. Overnight temperature 42 to 48, light southwest winds. We'll have an east wind at 10 to 15 miles per hour Tuesday, clouds and showers around 53 degrees. 55 to 60, partly to mostly sunny Wednesday with gusty winds in the forecast. This weather forecast has been brought to you by All About Garage Doors, your garage door repair specialist. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
ESPN Northwest Florida, War Eagle.
Auburn basketball returns to the Auburn Sports Network.
For the 2-hand slam. Stuffs it home for the circle. Smith, great yet.
Tuesday, the Tigers are back on the road at Missouri.
For 3, yet. Steps into a 3. Bang. He's feeling it. Rebound stuff by Cardwell.
Coverage begins at 7 Central on your home for the Auburn Sports Network.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
Let All About Garage Doors service your garage door today. All About Garage Doors has 24/7 service at no extra charge. Right now at All About Garage Doors, they will service your garage door starting at $99. And that comes with a free set of rollers. Yes, you heard right. They'll service your garage door starting at $99 plus a free set of rollers. Call All About Garage Doors now. 850-842-9188. Veteran owned and operated.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison. Live from the Rib Crib Studio, hot
takes, the latest trades, in-depth interviews.
That is my reaction.
We break it down for you right here.
Very big springboard for the rest of my career.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
That's the problem right there.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. We appreciate you so much for listening to the Afternoon Underdog Show. This is old school. I got Boston Tim with me. We got Adam Goff running the board today. Mr. Bingle himself.
Who day, baby.
Who day.
But we do have another caller on the line for trivia. This has been the most popular trivia question I think we've had, at least since I've been on here.
Absolutely.
Well,
and
good.
Hopefully we got a winner here. So who do we got on the line?
Carla Goff.
Carla. Are you any kin to Adam Goff?
I am.
You actually claim him?
I do. I am his better half.
Better half, that's for sure.
100%.
I knew we'd figure out the situation somehow. So in the first segment, we're discussing how can we get this exceptional man to win a prize on the show, and I think we figured it out.
There you go.
He shared his knowledge with his wife, and I believe it's
Hey, whoa. Just to...
Not on the phone.
Not on this question. Not on this question. There was no collusion, if you will.
Absolutely not, because I am the most sports fanatic there is. I'm just telling you.
All right, well, hit us with the Merchant Management Group trivia question, answer of the day. The question being, how many playoff losses does Aaron Rodgers have?
I believe 10.
10.
That is the answer we were looking for. All right.
All right, we got a winner. So why don't you go ahead and text into 215-6290 or Adam's number, and we will go ahead and get you whichever one of these 5 prizes you'd like to have.
Okay.
So you get to
much.
pick. You get to pick
right.
one of these 5, and then you will be. They'll send you a coupon electronically in your email.
Awesome. Thank you.
All
Thanks
right.
for calling in.
Love
We
you.
really appreciate it.
All right. Love you too. Bye.
Well, that was awesome.
We don't normally tell the people that call in that we love them, but I mean,
we do love all of you.
But
though.
we do love all
Right.
of them.
And appreciate all of you for listening.
Right. It was like when Dave's dad called in Friday to wish him happy birthday. So, you know,
That's good
so
stuff.
there you go. Yeah.
Can't beat it. All right, so I think we're going to go ahead and hop into our first discussion. We're going to talk about one of the AFC matchups. It's a big matchup that we had on Saturday. It's the Titans and Bengals game. And thankfully, we have somebody in the studio right here, such a lifetime fan that really, old school and I might not even really have to discuss anything. We could just let LA take it over because really, like, old school can't even really relate what it's like to be in the position that you're in, right? Your entire life, you've loved just one sports team, one team. You never jumped from team to team just because you guys didn't make it. You stuck with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you guys are going. You're into the championship with the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl.
Wait a minute. No, how long actually have you been a fan of the Bengals?
Since I was probably 7 years old, which is that 88 season.
And you're now 20.
I'm 40.
So 30 years.
Yes, doesn't he?
30 years.
Yeah, 33 years.
Yeah. Okay. Whenever you get to 60,
yeah,
let me know. Then we can talk a little.
So you're saying in 20 years I'm going to become as bitter and jaded as you.
That's a very good possibility.
You just went 33 years with nothing. You can easily live the next 2 decades off those 2 wins you just had.
But to just let you all know, it wasn't 33 years of nothing, right? So we had the Super Bowl in '89. Lewis Billups drops an interception. Otherwise, Montana doesn't have the drive.
Correct.
In that game, right? And then, you know, of course, we have the Vontez Burfict interception, followed by the Jeremy Hill immediate fumble, and then the whole debacle with Antonio Brown and the penalties. And that was probably the highest and lowest I had been as a Bengals fan, you know, from the Burfict interception to all of that, all of those shenanigans. You know, and then we had, in 2014, we were the number 1 overall seed, hosted the Chargers. I was at that game. My friend bought he and I some tickets for Christmas. We were like 3rd row, lower level. Absolutely fantastic.
Is that the one playoff game that Phillip Rivers won?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was.
Yeah. So Dalton fumbled. Giovanni Bernard was a rookie. He fumbled, and it was just the bungles happened. Yeah. And so, you know, you go through all these trials and tribulations as a Bengals fan, and then, you know, 2 weeks ago you witness, you know, them win their first playoff game in 31 years. And then Saturday, you know, I got to witness in front of a bunch of Titans fans, you know, Money Mac kicking a 52-yarder to send us to the AFC Championship. So
knocking off the other
it's
number 1 seed.
right. So it's a definitely a different feeling.
Yeah.
But it's a very welcomed one.
Well, it's kind of like, me being a Braves fan, right?
Yeah.
We get so close. We've been so close for so long, and we would lose to the Dodgers or we would lose to somebody, and so it's been 21 years this year until the Braves won this year. But that moment where you realize that your dreams are coming true is pretty awesome.
Well, when was the opposite? When was the moment you knew I'm no longer a Rangers fan?
Well, I'm still a Rangers fan for the American League.
Okay, I like it.
But no longer a Falcons fan.
But I am no longer a Falcons fan. Yeah.
Well, we talk about Money Mac. Let's go ahead and jump right into the game while we got a second. We only got 5 or 6 minutes left here to talk about the Titans and Bengals games. And so to start off the game, Money Mac knocked down a couple field goals, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were up 9-6 at half. Of course.
And they were not like short.
No, well, one was I think from like 39 or something,
and the other ones were in their late high 40s.
And then he had 154 and then a 52-yarder to win it. And then the fourth one was.
He started off on their first drive, 12 minutes, 5 seconds left. He hit the first 38
after the big interception from Jesse Bates on the first play of the game.
And then their next opportunity down at the end of the first, he had the 45-yarder you were talking about, big one.
Yeah.
And then we saw starting out the second, Titans get the ball, Henry gets the rushing touchdown, but they missed the extra point, right?
They went for 2.
Yeah, they went for 2. So the reason
the
reason they went for 2 is because the Bengals had 12 men on the field, right? So you're looking at a team that was second behind the Packers in terms of penalties, least number of penalties on the season. And then we have something that stupid happen. You can even see the defensive coordinator look over at the 12th man and go, "How stupid can you be?" I watched him mouth those words, but it turned out to be the thing that propelled us, honestly, because if you look at the way the game went on, I mean, when Burrow got sacked on that final drive that we had it before the final drive, when we had a punt, we would have had gone for it at like 4th and 14 or 15, I think it was, because we'd have been down a point.
Yeah. Right.
But, we ended up, punting away. And then, of course, Tannehill throws another interception that's tipped by Eli Apple and caught by Logan Wilson. So, and then, of course, that beautiful pass to Jamar Chase set up the Money Mac field goal from 52. So
54.
No, that was 52 was the game winner. 54 was earlier in the game.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm talking about the last, the game winner. So, I mean, the decision on 4th and 1. I mean, everybody wants to balk at or wants to talk about Ryan Tannehill and the mistakes that he made. And granted, they were huge mistakes. All 3 interceptions were terrible. However, how about the Bengals defense on the 2-point conversion, on that 4th and 1, getting the penetration, stopping Derrick Henry for a loss, and just changing the complexion of that game multiple times. So the Bengals defense definitely does not get enough credit for what they actually did, because they bent a little bit, but they didn't break.
Well, I mean, just from a guy that I didn't have a dog in the fight. I was hopeful for you. I was pulling for the Bengals.
Appreciate that.
I was
My friends back home, they're not.
Well, I was pulling for you because, I mean, you're the only Bengals fan that I know.
Yeah.
So I was pulling for you. I was like, this is big. We want to get the Bengals into this.
Right.
Now, but at the same time, my buddy Dave, I knew how painful it was going to be for Dave if the Titans don't get it. Being a number 1 seed, this is
especially
going to be,
after the championship.
Yeah, especially when you get Derrick Henry back, you get all of your superstars back for the big game. And then
but like I told Dave on Saturday, I said, man, you got to see the Rays win it, the Lightning win it, the Braves win it. Like, come on, man. You've had enough to celebrate this past year.
Alabama's won it, 17 times?
Right. Let's let the little guys have something to enjoy for a minute.
Yeah, his heart was a little bit heavy having the Alabama loss, of course, going into this game now. 2 back-to-back losses. Not something that he's accustomed to with how many wins his teams have been taking.
Yeah, I mean,
he's had a really good run.
He's had an amazing run.
Right.
I mean, because, the Tampa Bay's won it, the Stanley Cup twice in a row. They're going for 3.
Right.
The Braves won it this year. Alabama's won the national championship. I don't know how many times.
He's 28 now, and they've won it 8 times or something stupid.
Yeah. And well, most importantly, it's he doesn't have every single team winning, and he doesn't have to take the old school route, right? Because he does have so many teams that are winning. He can still be a Pacers fan. And
he still is a Pacers fan.
Yeah.
For a long time. But he's dedicated.
He is dedicated, and to his credit, he is still a Pacers fan. I don't know how long that's going to last.
So, Tim, tell me your thoughts on this game. What did you see?
Well, I thought it was a great game, and like you said, we talk about the big name players, the Derrick Henrys, the Browns, the Tannehills, right? We talk about Joe, of course, unbelievable play with Joe, and the amount that he's been throwing the ball this season, the percentage in which he's been landing the passes is unbelievable. The only person over 70%. Jamar Chase is unbelievable rookie year. Your second and third wide receivers are unbelievable. Joe Mixon had a nice touchdown. We talk about all those things, but what really was probably the most impressive to me was the defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to hold another number one team who is as solid as they are to 16 points, I mean, that's phenomenal, right? And yes, they did get 2 touchdowns, but they also created 4 turnovers, 3 of them being interceptions, big interceptions. And they capitalized on it, which is the big thing. And they didn't have their best game offensively, yet still produced a W in the end, which is what really matters. And so on top of the defense, I think the special teams, you can't not say enough about Money Matt, can you?
No, you can't. I mean, the kid's fearless.
Was he a draft pick?
Yeah, 5th round. He was the only kicker drafted in this last year's draft. Yeah.
Wow, I mean, that dude is money.
And he actually came out of Florida a year early. He left early, which is unheard of. It's kind of rare.
That's,
right?
I mean, because I heard the interview that he did with Dan Patrick this morning on the Dan Patrick show. The dude is cool. He's cool. He's got a lot of Joe Burrow in him, and the fact that there's ice running through those.
Well,
veins.
I think that's what Burrow has brought to that entire locker room is that confidence, that confidence, and you can call it cocky, you can call it arrogant if you want. I don't think it's that. I think it's
Joe
just
Burrow doesn't strike
there's an
me,
expectation.
Joe Burrow doesn't strike me as being cocky. He strikes me as somebody that just believes that he can get it done. And after he's sacked 9 times, 9 times in a playoff game, but yet they still get a victory.
And he steps up in the pocket every single time. And
I tell you what, the guy, the wide receiver, the rookie wide receiver, Jamar Chase, that dude is so elusive. I mean, he gets out of more tackles than anybody. Wide receivers, they get hit, they go down.
It's the avoidance of tackles, not necessarily the missed tackles. It's the way he's able to maneuver his feet and his body to get around guys, like on that the long pass play that he probably should have broke for a touchdown. Like the way he avoided those 2 defenders was amazing.
It was impressive. It was a heck of a performance by the Bengals. I mean, you really got to give it to them. You hate it for the Titans fans, and especially for Ryan Tannehill fans. I don't know how many of them there are out there, but it was a tough day for him.
But it was a great game for the AFC and for the Bengals, and hopefully we can have a good discussion about the Packers and the 49ers when we come back after these 3 minutes.
The new app from ESPN Northwest Florida has up-to-the-minute sports news, interaction with local hosts in real time, easy download and no credit check, live streaming, real-time traffic and programming schedules, 40 miles per gallon, rack and pinion steering, leather interior, and built-in alarm clock.
Here's how to order.
Download our free app from the Apple Store and Google Play.
Dynamite!
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hi, this is Matt Lewis with Reliable Hydraulic Solutions. We offer comprehensive diagnostics and repair service for all types of hydraulic units, such as hydraulic and pneumatic cylinders, hydraulic pumps, motors, and valves, as well as a broad range of hydraulic hoses and O-rings. Give us a call at Reliable Hydraulic Solutions at 850-326-3000 for any of your hydraulic needs. Or come see us on Commercial Drive off Jinx Avenue in Panama City.
Offered Tire and Service Center on Tyndall Parkway in Callaway is your authorized Goodyear and Michelin dealer.
Looking for ways to save at the pump? Ask about Offer's fuel induction service that can improve gas mileage and engine performance, cleaning any buildup that forms inside your engine parts at Offered Tire and Service Center. Their latest technology to clean up the entire system, not just the gas tank.
Offered Tire and Service Center on Tyndall Parkway in Callaway. Locally owned for the past 35 years and worth the drive from anywhere.
For the best donuts in the area, the locals will tell you, Dandy Donuts and Deli. The donuts are amazing, but the breakfast and lunch choices are super. Cheese grits for breakfast are a tradition at Dandy Donuts and Deli. Try the spicy chicken for lunch. So, for classic donuts, biscuits, burgers, and the best apple fritters in the area, it's Dandy Donuts and Deli. Same location since 1985. 1147 Harrison Avenue, across from Bay High School.
Safety is important, not just for you, but also for your family. Emerald Coast AMSL specializes in women's and children's safety and self-protection. They offer a variety of products from stun guns, striking tools, pepper sprays, including GPS-enabled sprays, personal alarms, safety whistles, and more. Give the gift of self-protection and contact Michelle and Rick today, 850-358-2810, or visit their website at emeraldcoastdamsel.com. Independent Damsel Pro for damsel in defense.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. They said it couldn't be done. The Afternoon Underdogs are live.
They say it can't be done.
Are we going to do what they say can't be done?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back to the Afternoon Underdogs show. It's great to have you in with us today. We've got so much to talk about, but real quick before we get started again, I just want to give a little quick shout out today. Randy and I had lunch over at Firehouse Subs over here next door to us, and a gentleman came up and spoke to us. His name is Paul Barker. And Paul, that dude, super nice guy, and he recognized my voice. He said, "Are you old school?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, I'm really, really old school," because he's a little bit older than me. But he has a granddaughter who just signed to play college basketball at the University of Georgia.
That's big time.
Big time. This girl is
big time.
She is a attractive young lady, 6'4", going to be a freshman at the University of Georgia, and her two brothers played football at Georgia Tech.
Nice.
And I'm like, "So
That's
are
an
you going to be
athletic
a
family.
Georgia fan, or are you going to be a Tech fan?" He goes, "Well, I guess I have to be a Georgia fan now." So, but he's a super nice guy. Paul, thank you so much. Enjoyed talking with you today, and hope your granddaughter does a great job at Georgia, and I'm sure she will.
Yeah, and congratulations to the entire family for being so athletic. That's fantastic.
Yeah, he said he said he had 10 grandkids, and now that's 3 of them that have played collegiately. So,
hey, if you can hit 30%, you're going to the Hall
he's
of Fame.
He's going to the Hall of Fame, man.
Right?
Yeah, 3 out of 10 ain't bad.
Come on.
And this girl, 6'4", looking forward to seeing her play on the hardwoods for Georgia. It's going to be fun.
3 out of 10. I mean, we're not talking about like Aaron Rodgers playoff wins, right? We're talking about being successful here. Okay?
Well, I mean, you're looking at it like a baseball team or a softball team there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
exactly.
You know, my grandfather.
I mean, quite literally, with 10 of them.
Yeah, my grandfather had 10 kids. My mom's one of 10, and they had a softball team, and you know, my mom and all her sisters and stuff played on it, and I think it was like 7 of the 9 or 10 that were on the team were either sisters or cousins. Like it was crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah, shout out to my boss, Marcus. He's got 3 boys, and his brother has 2 boys, and they're all within 3 years of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep telling him, I said, with the way that they're going now, how athletic they already all are, they're probably going to be an entire starting basketball team. It's going to be just all Blues. Their all last name is Blue.
Yeah.
There's going to be 5 starters, all Blue.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
For 2 or 3 years. I mean, they're athletes, too. They're great at every sport that they play, and they're fortunate that their dad is there to coach almost every sport, too. So
oh, that's awesome.
Pretty cool. Shout out Marcus Blue. Love you, brother. So let's hop into the Packers and the 49ers game, guys. It was pretty, I would say, the opposite side of the spectrum that I would have thought happened. You know, I would have expected a little bit more out of Aaron Rodgers. And we did not see much at all out of the offense.
We knew that the 49ers defense was going to be tough.
Right.
But I didn't think that they were going to be able to hold down the Aaron Rodgers train to 0 offensive touchdowns. 0.
Well, they had the one in the first drive.
Oh, that's right.
The scripted first drive.
Yeah.
10 plays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and they looked great doing it.
Down.
Yeah.
A.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
You know, looked great.
Aaron Jones out of the backfield was doing his thing. So they looked like, okay, here we go. This game is going to be over before the first quarter's ended.
The whole first half, it was like, okay, this is going the way the Packers want it to go. Yeah. They're dominating them from a defensive standpoint. The 49ers really couldn't do much offensively.
No, they had -7 yards in the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, and then all of a sudden, I was flipping over to listen to the Auburn basketball game and back and forth, and then all of a sudden I checked the score and it's tied, and I'm like, well, how did this happen? Where did they get the offensive touchdown there? Well, no, they didn't. They blocked a punt.
Blocked punt touchdown.
And did it seem to you all like that
That
ball was in the air for about 35 seconds.
Like longer than the punt would have been.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, you're right.
100%. The hang time on that thing was incredible.
I don't know. And all of a sudden, boom, it's now tied.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, my goodness.
And you had a new ball game because you saw the way that San Francisco was defending Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
You saw him running for his life. He was sacked 5 times. And
I mean, that's
you
not,
knew
it's
that
not Joe Burrow level.
No. But
still, 5, that's a lot.
Burrow still got the job done.
Yeah.
Right. And for whatever reason, Aaron Rodgers just could not get it done in this game. And credit goes to the Niners because they made Aaron Rodgers look mortal and I hate to say it, but mediocre.
Pedestrian.
Pedestrian, yeah, that's a good word.
That's the word that came to my mind yesterday was he just looks pedestrian.
And you never really expect this early on in a game to have a defining moment, right? But I think that was the defining moment in the game. I really feel like, the first quarter they just dominated the entire time, but as soon as we had that block punt, it was like being in New England and Brady sending the ball boy into the back to take the air out of the ball, right? It was just deflated. And it seemed like the air left the building, and so did all of the ability to move down the field. There was not much progression in the game after that, really, at all.
Well, and there wasn't any offense on the other side either. It's not like Jimmy G was lighting it up.
Right, and you'd never expect an Aaron Rodgers-led team to hold San Francisco to 13 points,
right.
And barring any injury of Aaron and Devontae, probably both of them, to lose that game. Not when you hold them to 13 points.
I mean,
but when
and for
San Francisco does the exact same thing.
For any NFL team, if you hold them to under 20 points, you have a very good chance of winning.
Sure.
Absolutely.
But not in this particular game.
Well, and, when it started snowing, like really snowing up there in Green Bay in the third quarter, they kind of flashed to LaFleur, and you could see him. It kind of felt like, okay, maybe the tide's going to change here because this is who we are. This is
Green Bay
is where we play.
Right.
And you kind of thought, okay, well, here we go. The Packers are going to be the Packers again. And it just never came to fruition.
Yeah.
And then, the block punt and, the blocked field goal was big too.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that changed a few things in the way that I think the Packers approached how they were going to go about that San Francisco defense.
So, to me, the MVP was the special teams. Special teams.
Absolutely.
100%.
For San Francisco. I mean, because they won that game for them.
Mm-hmm.
They did.
I mean, it certainly wasn't any plays by anybody in particular on the offense on either side.
Well, I mean, Debo in the fourth quarter had some really, really big plays, and they don't get down there for that gold field goal without Debo Samuel. So, I mean, Debo did his part. It's just unfortunate that Mitchell couldn't back him up. He had nothing from Garoppolo. Kittle didn't look like George Kittle. And credit Green Bay's defense on that part, too.
At some point, do they just keep riding the Garoppolo train, or do they realize what they've got here? Because they're about to take on an offense that didn't struggle being able to move the ball up and down the field.
And they certainly are going to be facing a defense that's going to be bringing, I think, a lot more than what the Packers are going to be bringing.
Yeah.
And their defense is formidable in itself, and we know that their offensive playmakers are all strong outside of Jimmy. So Jimmy really might be the question coming up at the end of the season, whether or not they go to the Super Bowl or not, right? Not necessarily even if they win this game.
Yeah, to me, that's the big question is can Jimmy G, he's gotten them to the Super Bowl before, but can he do it again? Can he really load this team on his shoulders and go win a big game?
Or
where he's going to have to score points.
Right, or is it the 49ers carrying Jimmy?
I think it's more like that front four is going to carry them because that defensive front four for San Francisco is they're legit.
But they were that way when they went to the Super Bowl last time. It was all defensive,
right?
And we all saw that Kyle Shanahan really didn't trust Garoppolo.
And that was one of the better defensive matchups. It was Baltimore they went against last Super Bowl, I believe. The brothers, Harbaugh brothers, against each other.
Well, the 49ers played Kansas City.
Excuse me. Yeah,
and
Ray Lewis.
And they were really kind of dominating, and then all of a sudden, then Patrick Mahomes became Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think we got Michigan Eddie on the line wants to weigh in.
Okay.
Michigan Eddie, hit us.
Go Blue Trucks here, Arizona. We're going to have to back to stand up. Hey, I'm happy for Matthew Stafford. It was always the Lions. It wasn't him. He's a great quarterback. He was just in a putrid organization. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we can all agree with that.
I mean, but there's still some pundits that are saying, "Oh well, it took me yesterday's game to finally realize it." He's done that time and time again. Put the lines on his back and did game-winning fourth-quarter drives.
Yep.
He did that all throughout his career.
Absolutely.
All throughout his career. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, what do you think about the games on Saturday, Eddie?
I was hoping the Packers were going to win. I like Aaron Rodgers. I like all that he stands for. He's taking a lot of heat in the media. I'm not going to get into politics, but I wanted Aaron Rodgers to win because he stands up for his values and stuff like that. And he just doesn't give a flip. And love him or hate him, whatever. And I want them to win, I think. But, hey, I told Deanna this. I go, Robbie Gould played for the Bears. He's used to that weather. So if it comes down to game-winning kick, he's going to make it. How long did he play with the Bears in those conditions and at Lambeau Field as a visitor?
Yeah,
so he was a perfect kicker to make that kick.
Well, because he is a perfect kicker in the playoffs, Eddie, he's 20 for 20 in postseason kicks.
Well, that's true, but what I'm also saying is not a lot of kickers would have made that kick in the snow at the frozen tundra.
Absolutely. Vinatieri's retired.
Yeah. And Vinatieri also, I mean, played with the Pats in snowy conditions. You know what I mean? Not a lot of kickers can acclimate that quick. So, dude, it was an awesome weekend for kickers.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
And then Cincy, what they did to Tennessee. We were in Nashville the weekend before. I'm glad we weren't there this weekend.
And there was a lot of orange up there, brother. There was a lot of orange up there.
Yeah. So I mean, it was great, man. And Tennessee Titans, they can't make no excuses. They had everybody back, and on paper they should. That's why you play the game.
That's why.
You know what I mean? And hey, it's like Michigan basketball, baby, G-man. We went into Assembly Hall in Bloomington and beat Indiana where no one gave us a shot, and now we're starting to gel. Remember when I said pull the throttles back? They're a young team. They need to coalesce. You know what I mean? It's going to take them a while, and then they're going to start hitting on some cylinders. It's happening. Michigan Eddie's right.
That's right. Michigan Eddie, one more question before I let you go. We're coming up against a break. Is Rodgers going to be with the Packers next year?
I hope he stays, but he might pull a Brady and he might want to go somewhere else because he wants to try something new. And I don't feel the love from Packers management. The fans, yes. Management, I don't know. But I think him and Devontae Adams are a package deal, though.
I agree with you.
And he says he doesn't want to have to do a rebuild, so that's going to limit the number of teams he can go to. So we certainly will see.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And he also, did you hear about that? He sent Devontae Adams a text when Devontae Adams and his wife were going to dinner, saying that he was the greatest human being, greatest player he's ever played with. And Devontae Adams told his wife, "You got to stop the car, honey." You know, and he started ball. Like the camaraderie and the love and the brotherhood between Aaron and Devontae is second to none. It's kind of like Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, you know.
Absolutely.
So we'll see.
Yeah, there's something.
Fun, Go Blue Truck.
Go ahead.
Go Blue Truck Series. I love you guys. Great show, and I'll be talking to you on the flip side. I gotta go to work, baby. Time to make the donuts.
Thanks, Eddie.
I'm out.
Thanks, Michigan Eddie. Yeah, there's something to say about sports and how it really just can bring people together, you know, unbelievably. And so after the break, we'll get into Defend Your Stance and bring some thoughts together. We'll see you guys in 3 minutes.
Weather forecast overnight, clouds will lower and thicken, chance of showers by dawn. Overnight temperature 42 to 48, light southwest winds. We'll have an east wind at 10 to 15 miles per hour Tuesday, clouds and showers around 53 degrees. 55 to 60, partly to mostly sunny Wednesday with gusty winds in the forecast. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Super Bowl 56.
Take off the paw and be a man.
Sunday, February 13th, we'll bring you the game live from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, with a rich audio experience that puts you right in the stands.
36-yard strike Brady to Antonio Brown.
Go home for Super Bowl 56. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Here at Panama City Toyota, we love things that last. Of course, it starts with beautiful, reliable Toyota cars and trucks. It continues with every customer relationship, across generations and hundreds of thousands of miles. And now, we're proud to offer something you can count on year after year after year. A free lifetime warranty that covers your drivetrain and powertrain. If you shop with us, we'll be here for you. Because peace of mind should last throughout your entire journey.
Hi, this is Coach James Hale, here to tell you about the best car wash on the beach. Blue Sky Express Car Wash. Number one, they're locally owned. You know Matt and his employees will do a great job. Number two, Blue Sky Car Wash recycles their water. Number three, they have the latest technology available. It does an incredible job on your vehicle. Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Back Beach Road is right near Home Depot. Tell them Coach Hill sent you.
ESPN Northwest Florida are proud members of the Panama City Beach Chamber. We'd like to welcome the newest members to the Beach Chamber.
Exchange at the Beach, Fortis PM, Hawkstone Cyber, LLC, Keller Williams Success Realty, Elaine Giddens, No Doubt Systems, Sombreros Bar and Grill, LLC, Toastmaster Panama City, and Wolf Water Sports, LLC, Hydrofly PCB.
Congratulations from the area's only sports radio station, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Damsel in Defense presents Defend Your Stance. Got an opinion? Time to defend it. It's the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back into the Rape Crib Radio Room. Ladies and gentlemen, this will be the Defend Your Stance portion of the show. Before we get into that, let me let you guys know about Beat Down at the Beach coming up February 12th. We'll be live at Edgewater this time coming up, guys.
At Edgewater?
Yeah, very exciting. We're very excited to be over there at Edgewater. It'll be our first event over there of many, hopefully, to be going forward with them. It's a great venue that they have over there.
It's a nice place.
Very big, wide open space. We'll be able to fit more people in there for this event, so we're very excited to have all you guys come check us out. Tables are going fast, but you can contact myself here at the show, 215-6290, or you can contact Rob at 691-9650 to get tables or tickets. And, of course, you can go on eventbrite.com and pick up some of the tickets there. And if you guys would, check out our YouTube page. You know, we got lots of fights and things going on there, all promos and things about the future, the past, the training, and everything having to do with Beat Down at the Beach. So check us out on YouTube. And, of course, again, the 12th coming up at 6 o'clock. The doors will be open, and we'll have the event started right there at 7 o'clock, and it'll be huge. We'll have multiple championship bouts, lots of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, and, of course, MMA. So now, Defend Your Stance, ladies and gentlemen, is sponsored by Emerald Coast Damsel, an independent damsel pro for damsel and defense. Brought to you, of course, by our one and only Caveman Rick. We love you, Caveman.
Don't forget his wife, Michelle.
And Michelle Nowalinsky, the best. You can't ask for anybody better. These guys are they'll let you know that they pity the fool that doesn't use their tools, because their tools are the ones that are going to save you. And in the instance that, there's some security issues, whether it be at your home, at work, or going to your car, or whatever it may be, these guys have the tools that can put you in the position to be safe. I believe they just had a show at Jacksonville this past weekend. Fort Walton will be coming up, and then will be followed by Tallahassee. So get ready to check them out and grab some stuff, guys. They always have not only the tools, but the education there for you. So check out Caveman and Michelle. So while we hop into our first Defend Your Stance question, guys, before we get back into football, I'll start with the question 2 that we have on there, guys. It's been pretty big all day long, the conversation about Harden.
Where did this come from?
For Ben Simmons as a trade in the offseason. And I'd like to know, of course, your thoughts on it, and if you think it's a good trade for both teams if this trade were to go through.
I don't know where it came from is what I want to know. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, they have these things called like Twitter and other social media outlets. I know you probably don't subscribe to them.
I don't tweet.
Right.
I don't tweet. I don't do all those. But it just doesn't make any sense to me. You got a guy that doesn't want to play for the team that he's getting paid for to play. But yet now he's going to go play for a team that has another guy on that team that doesn't want to play and doesn't want to take what's necessary to be able to play. I mean, this whole thing is just getting so convoluted. It's getting crazy.
Well, I think, honestly, this is probably the best fit for Ben Simmons, right? I mean, I don't want to placate to the guy's ego, but think about it. He doesn't have to shoot. At the end of the games, he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands to go to the line. All he has to do is rebound, distribute the ball to Durant and Irving, and do his thing. There's no pressure on him to be the guy there.
Yeah, but
So for
Kyrie
being
Irving-
on the Nets team, I think that's going to be the best fit for him. And then Harden can go and take 75 shots with Joel Embiid in Philadelphia and just be just as happy. So I think, honestly, it's probably a really, really good trade for both sides as long as Simmons gets out of his own way.
I mean, I see the side of Harden going over to play with Embiid. What I'm struggling with is you've got a guy, Kyrie Irving, who is one of the best point guards. He's got the best handle of anybody in the league.
Half of the season, though.
Very, very good point. But I mean, that could very well not be the case next year.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know that.
Policies change, rules, mandates, whatever.
Things, hopefully things get more back to normal. I just don't see, Ben Simmons, is he going to be the distributor? Is he going to be the guy that is running he's your team quarterback? This is a guy that doesn't want to play. And you're going to
that's for sure.
You're going to hand him the keys to an offense that is flowing and has got two of the most talented offensive players in the league on the team, and you're going to say, okay, yeah, here you go. You're going to be the guy that's going to be the distributor. You're going to be the instigator. You're going to be the guy that puts this whole thing into motion.
Right, but
don't get fouled.
But take the pressure out of the situation, right?
You can't take the pressure out of it.
You can, because Durant and Irving can contain all that pressure, right? They can put all of the onus of winning and going down the stretch on their shoulders, and all Simmons has to do is just go in there and perform and not mess up, because he's not going to be the guy. I think it's a great fit for the Brooklyn Nets. I think Harden going to Philadelphia, I think he and Embiid probably have a lot of similar personality traits, and who knows, that could be a match made in heaven for them. But I think if Simmons doesn't have to worry about being the guy and going in and getting fouled or having to shoot, a big shot or a jumper at all, because he knows he's got Durant and Irving there, tell me a better situation for him.
And I think the big thing that they would gain in Brooklyn by getting Ben Simmons is I think they could get a slight reduction on his contract at $113 million a year. That's about $38 million, or $113 million over the next 3 years. That's about $38 million a year. Whereas Harden is looking at $47.5 million player option this year that he could easily get out of and then switch to a 5-year, $274.7 million max contract, which is almost, it's just over $50 million, like $55 million a year, just under. And so, that right there, almost $20 million annual difference would save them and open up cap space for them. And so I think that would be another discussion that they need to think about when making this big trade probability. And the statistics that come along with Ben are great. Defensive player of the year and 2.5 blocks, 2.7 blocks, 1.8 steals. That's great. And then he's just underneath the triple-double at 15.6, 8.9, and 7.9 rebounds. So, I mean, he is a formidable player. It's just he just doesn't have that confidence in pulling the trigger. And that, for me, is why it's hard to think that they would make that trade. Outside of the money, for the player swap is just not even to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've got a couple of minutes here. Let's move on to the next question. So, what was your favorite moment? I mean, this weekend was just chock full of sports. What was your favorite moment?
Well, mine.
I know yours.
I got to steal yours.
Right, yeah. Money Mac from 52 yards to send us to the AFC Championship. That's easy.
I think the comment that he made was the best part.
Right.
He just runs up to Joe Burrow smiling, excited that he just lost 2 yards. And he's like, hey, I guess we're going to the AFC Championship.
Right.
Before he even walked out onto the field.
Yeah, he was standing over by the heater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
my favorite moment, honestly, was when Matt Stafford throws it to Cooper Kupp, runs down there. The whole team is hustling down there, and he takes his time. He was cool enough to take his time, make sure that everybody got set, because they knew a 10-second runoff, this thing is over with.
Right.
He took his time. He got the thing done. He got the thing spiked, and then he turned around to the sideline and he walked off, just giving it that Tiger Woods pump.
Yeah, and what a throw to Cooper Kupp on that.
Throw.
It was right on the money. Cooper didn't even have to do anything other than just put out his hands, and it was right there.
I mean, and for a guy that had for years carried the onus of being a Detroit Lions starting quarterback, and here he is now. He has a very, very good chance of getting to make it to the Super Bowl. That was my moment. I thought it was just.
Did you hear what he said afterwards in the interview on the field? That he said they asked him about that, the play, the long throw to Cooper Kupp, and he said, they were doing a cover zero and they were blitzing, and with Cooper Kupp out there, that's just a bad recipe. And I was like, I like that a lot.
It's just awesome.
Good. That's good.
Yeah, for me, obviously those are, unbelievable moments. But I think, and never having been a Packers fan, watching the Packers lose, I think that blocked punt for me was probably the biggest moment of the weekend. I thought it was just awesome. And then for them to recover it, score the touchdown, and, being one of the only scores in the entire game in a 10-13 game. And it was really the deciding factor, obviously, because their quarterback can't be the deciding factor with 131 yards and an interception. You barely even got a passer rating at all, let alone having one. So for me, I think that the special teams blocked punt, turn touchdown was probably the biggest and best play of the weekend for me.
All right, real quick, because we only have about 40 seconds here. Best Super Bowl matchup for you?
The Chiefs versus the 49ers.
Okay.
I think it's going to be the Bengals and the Rams. That's who I would like it to be, and that's who I think the best matchup would be also.
Okay. For me, it's Bengals-Niners, so we can get revenge for those other 2 Super Bowls.
Makes
Rematch. All right, guys. Well, we got a hard break coming up. We greatly appreciate you all, and we'll be back for the second hour right after this.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Greeny.
No, it is not my nature as a fan of the New York Jets to be sitting here feeling for the hashtag Bills Mafia, but I do, because I've got losses like that. I got good news and bad if you're my friend and you're a Bills fan. The good news is I'm going to be supportive of you. I'm not going to rub your face in it. The bad news is I have experience with this. You're never getting over it. Never.
Weekday afternoons from 2 till 4. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Small business owners of Bay County, are you aware of the recent changes in the credit card industry that could affect how much you pay for credit card processing? With over 30 years experience right here in Bay County, Merchant Management Group is ready to help your business take advantage of these changes and in some cases eliminate all fees for accepting credit card. Other businesses have already made the change. Call Merchant Management Group today to schedule a no obligation appointment. 850-747-0664.
So, how's the new job?
Love it, but it's not just a job, it's a career.
Life insurance? Love?
I told you Woodman Life is really active in the community, right? They support all kinds of community improvement projects. How's your job, by the way?
Don't ask.
You can love what you do, too. Call me, Lance Myers, your Panama City area Woodman Life recruiting sales manager at 850-769-9212 to learn more.
Woodman of the World Life Insurance Society of Omaha, Nebraska. Woodman Life, standing strong for generations.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Time to let the big dogs eat. Powered by Pepsi. WGSX Lynn Haven, Panama City. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Dr. Chad Mitchell, orthopedic surgeon, specializing in sports medicine and joint replacement of the knee, shoulder, and hip. He serves our local athletes and our community. Southern Orthopedic Specialist has been the leader in orthopedic care for over 20 years. New patients are welcome. Call 850-769-KNEE to schedule an appointment. More about Dr. Mitchell and Southern Orthopedic Specialist is available on their website, southernorthopedic.com. Southern Orthopedic, getting you back in the game.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. The mission.
Your mission, should you decide to accept it.
Save the panhandle from boring cookie-cutter radio. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs.
The state will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back into the Rib Crib Radio Room. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. We've got old school LA Adam Goff on the board and myself, Boston T in the building. Guys, we greatly appreciate you joining us. This is the 5 at 5. Coming up, we're going to discuss the 5 games that the guys picked on Friday and the 5 games that we have set up for today. But first, let me let you guys know about trivia and Taco Bar Night. It's going to be exciting coming up January 28th from 5:30 to 8 p.m. Swing by Bar 72, guys, and join the fun. It'll be $15.95 per person with teams of 2, 3, 4, or 5. The Taco Bar trivia prizes will all be included in the price of the event, and at first, second, and third place prizes will be given out.
And you do need to make reservations.
Right. And
So that they can feed you.
Right, and that's Bar 72, which is, of course, at the Bay Point Golf Club, if you guys have never been there.
It's a very nice place to go hang out.
Very exciting. So now last week, guys, you had 5 games on Friday that you guys did the picks for. We had Adam in the building with Caveman Rick and David Hayes. You guys did not have a terrible weekend, but nobody did exceptionally well. We had Adam coming in at 2-3, Caveman 2-3, and David did 3-2. You guys had the Illinois and Maryland game first. Adam and Caveman both took Illinois. David took Maryland, and Illinois ended up getting whooped pretty good in that game. Michigan State ended up defeating Wisconsin. You and Dave both had Wisconsin. Caveman got the victory on that one with Michigan State. The over came up in that game as well as the very first game. The second game, or the third game we had, which was probably one of the best college games we've had all year, an exceptional game in Kentucky coming into Auburn, which was number 2 at that point and is now off the AP poll number 1.
And who is the home in the Northwest Florida area for Auburn?
That would be us.
Right here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
And then we had a good hockey game. It was a 5-4 game, so we definitely got the over in that, which was predicted to be between 5 and 6 points at 5.5. And again, that was the Stars versus the Red Wings. We had Dallas was chosen again by you and David, and Caveman got this one right. Dallas won that game. Caveman got that wrong. You two guys got that right. And then the end, you had the Memphis Grizzlies game, which was also a great game. That was the over, way over, 224.5 points. You and Dave both took Memphis. Denver for Caveman. Memphis ended up taking that one. So not a terrible weekend, but hopefully we'll do better tonight.
Saturday was all that really mattered.
That's all that really mattered, right?
Right.
That W is worth more than these 5 combined.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, old school. So let's hop right into it, and I'll start with you.
Okay.
The first game we're going to have is going to be a hockey game tonight. The number 1 first place out of the Pacific League, Vegas Golden Knights, are going to be traveling over to the Washington Capitals, who I believe 4th in the Metropolitan. Washington favored 140, and the over-under is 6 in this game. Who did you like for this particular game?
I always take the Caps at home. So even though I'm a VGK fan, I'm going to take the Capitals at home.
A very solid decision to make. LA, who do you got, buddy?
I'm going to go with Ovechkin and the Capitals there.
Yeah, you guys are smart to do that, but I'm going to go with Vegas just because they've been rocking, right? So why not stick with the hot hand?
So what about I'm going to take the under. What about you?
You like the over? Yeah, there you go.
I'm taking the under.
I'll take the under on that one as well.
And I'm going to do the opposite again. I do think that Ovechkin's going to have a good game. I think he might even put 2 or maybe go for a hat trick today. But I think that they're just going to be outmanned by the Knights, and I think the Knights are going to go ahead and put up 5
Caveman said give him the Caps and the over as well.
I got you, Caveman.
Just don't ask him about the Flyers.
All right. Caps and the over. Sounds good. We got that. We've got a really good basketball game, guys, right now. The Knicks have been relatively poor for the start of the season, but these last 3 weeks they've been on fire, and they're going to be going into Cleveland, who has also been playing exceptional. And Cleveland right now is 4th. They dropped to 5th in the East this weekend. And the Knicks are striving in this game, or thriving to come and get a victory in this game after having a big victory last night against the Clippers. They're going to be getting 6 points traveling over to Cleveland. The over and under 203 in this game. I'll start with you, Adam. Adam, who do you like in this game?
Give me the New York Knickerbockers and give me the under.
Right. And what about you, old school? Big game right here.
Yeah.
Knicks traveling to Cleveland.
The Knicks on the road just don't excite me. I like the Knicks at home, but not on the road, so I'll take the Cavs, and I'm going to take the over.
I like the over as well. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to stick right with you on that one, old school. I like the Cavs. I think they'll And then, of course, here, guys, we never pick the spread, but I think they will cover the spread tonight, which is -6. I think they get a double-digit victory around 11 or 12 points, and I think that they hold the Knicks to around 90. I will take the over in this game, though. I think they just get over maybe 104 to 90, something like that.
Caveman's taking Believe Land in the over.
Cleveland in the over. All right. So that's 3 of us taking. Everybody took the over there, huh?
I took the under.
Oh, I wrote that down wrong.
Yeah, no, I took Knicks in the under. I think I'm on an island here.
I think you are on an island. Yes, sir. All right, well, let's move on to the next game, guys. The Chicago Bulls. Giving up 2 points. They're traveling over to OKC. OKC hasn't necessarily been a great team this year, but they play decent at home. They've only got 14 victories, 32 losses. Obviously, they're dead last in the West. The Bulls, however, haven't been doing well. They were great to start the season off. 3-7 in the last 10 games, including 2 back-to-back losses here. So with the way they've been playing, you really just don't know what's going to happen this game. But I'd really like to see what you think about it, Old School. Tell me.
Well, I'm going to take the Thunder at home because they're from Oklahoma City. That's where my daughter lives, and I'm going out there to see her. So
this is where your daughter lives. Where does my daughter live?
My daughter lives in OKC, and she's a fan of the Thunder. She and her husband go pretty regularly to watch the Thunder, so I'm taking the Thunder.
We got 216.5 points for the over-under. What do you like, Old School?
I'm going to go under.
Okay. LA, hit me.
I think this is a game that the Bulls can use to get healthy and get right. So give me the Bulls in this one, and I'll take the over.
I think the only reason I'm not taking the Bulls is I think the Bulls are looking at this going, yeah, this is our chance to get healthy.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do without Caruso.
Yeah.
Right, and I see here that the spread has dropped to 1.5 points. I'm with you. I think the Bulls need this victory right here. The season is pretty much already over for OKC. I think that they'll be vying for draft placement from here on out through the duration of the season, where I still think that the Bulls have an opportunity to fight for the first place spot in the East. So I think that they're going to be coming out firing, looking for a W. I have them winning the game. I also have them covering the over.
All right. Caveman is taking the El Toros.
Okay.
And he is doing under.
Bulls in the under. Now we're going to LA Land, traveling to Virginia. You got your boys right here represented on
You
your
had to
shirt
put this
right there.
game on the docket, didn't you?
Unfortunately, we had to. There's not a ton of games going on tonight, LA, so we had to pick through the ones that we thought were going to be good games, and we think that as far as college basketball goes, with there only being about 7 games tonight, that's probably going to be one of the better games.
Should be.
Right, and so again, 5-point spread, Louisville going into Virginia, both of them 11-8. On the season,
Struggling.
7th and 8th respectively in the ACC, which we've discussed last week. The ACC very top heavy this year, as is the SEC.
Yeah, but that top is like 2 or 3 tops.
Right, 2-3 teams.
That's it.
And that's
the
it.
rest of it
SEC's
is just
a little bit more, but yeah. So again, traveling over to Virginia, 5 points. They're giving up 124.5 points. The over/under relatively low for these two defensive specialists. Who do you like in this game, LA?
I'm from Louisville. I'm a diehard fan, but this is not our year. We have struggled to have an identity. These kids on this team, they do not know what is expected of them. The coach doesn't know what to expect of them, and we never ever play Tony Bennett very, very well. The way he schemes, whether it was Pitino coaching, David Padgett coaching, or now Chris Mack. Virginia likes to slow everything down. Louisville just has no identity, so I hate to do it, but I'm going to take the Wahoos here and give me the under on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right with you on that one. Like I said, they're defensive specialists. They don't put a lot of points on the board. They slow the ball down. As a matter of fact, Virginia averages less than 60 points a game, putting that 358th overall in all of basketball. That there's only 371 teams total, I believe. So they're almost the very bottom as far as offensive goes. But their defense is just great. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you on this one. There's really no. They don't really have a full team going over there in Louisville, and they're just not playing like a cohesive unit this year. And I don't think necessarily that it's Virginia that's going to be beating them. I think it's Louisville that's going to be beating themselves.
100%.
I take Virginia, and I also take the under in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same. Just Virginia's defense at home always is tough. In Louisville, the only way they can score is to run, and with Virginia not with them slowing everything down, it really puts Louisville in trouble. I'm going to take Virginia and the under.
All right. Did Caveman send something in for you?
I've not seen anything yet.
All right, Caveman. That's Louisville, Virginia, -5, over under 120. It has dropped to 122.5. I see here.
I still take the under.
And the fifth and final game for our 5 at 5 today, guys, is going to be the one and only matchup that is of top 25 schools today. And we're going to have the Texas Tech boys going all the way over to Kansas to play a big game where they'll be getting 7.5 points. It started off at 6 points. It's jumped up 1.5 points in less than 24 hours.
Wow.
Again, number 18, Texas Tech. Number 7, Kansas at home. Who do you like, Old School?
Well, I love the Red Raiders. Being from Lubbock, there's nothing else there to love. So you got to love the Red Raiders. But going to Kansas,
Foghorn.
Foghouse,
excuse me.
I'm going to take Kansas.
Real quick, K-Man did chime in. He said he'll take Virginia and the under. So he's right on par with us. Yeah, Fog Allen Fieldhouse is a different environment. Give me Kansas in this one.
Did you take the over or the under?
I'm taking the under.
What is the over-under in this game?
It's going to be where did I put it? Sorry. Excuse me. It is 138.5.
Give me the under.
All right, I'm going to go the opposite with you guys on this one, and it may put me on the island, but we've seen Texas Tech this year, and they've had a great season, right? They're knocking off teams. They've only lost 4 games. They're putting up tons of points, just like Old School said, including victories over already Kansas and Baylor, and the victory that they had over Kansas was almost double digits. I don't see any reason for there to be a difference in that game here.
Well, they were playing Kansas at home.
Right.
Now they're playing Kansas.
Right, but they've subsequently played even better every single game since then and haven't lost a game since then, including knocking off, at the time, number 1 Baylor.
Oh, I understand, but it's you go to Kansas, you go to their home floor, you better be ready because
Caveman is taking Kansas and the over.
Right. So I'm going to take the opposite. The opposite of you two. I'm going to take the over in this game. I think it'll be just barely over 138, maybe 140, 142, 44. But I do like Texas Tech to come in and get the W. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our 5 at 5. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to hop back into the NFL weekend results, and starting off with the Rams and the Buccaneers game. We'll see you in 3.
Weather forecast: overnight clouds will lower and thicken, chance of showers by dawn. Overnight temperature 42 to 48, light southwest winds. With an east wind at 10 to 15 miles per hour Tuesday, clouds and showers around 53 degrees. 55 to 60, partly to mostly sunny Wednesday with gusty winds in the forecast. This weather forecast has been brought to you by All About Garage Doors, your garage door repair specialist. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
ESPN Northwest Florida. War Eagle.
Auburn basketball returns to the Auburn Sports Network.
For the two-hand slam. Stuffs it home for the circle. Smith, yes.
Tuesday, the Tigers are back on the road at Missouri.
For three, yes. Steps into a 3. Bang. He's feeling it. Rebound stuff by Cardwell.
Coverage begins at 7 Central on your home for the Auburn Sports Network.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Discover Kia in 2022 at Bill Burr Kia, your local community dealer. Let your New Year adventures begin in a new Kia. Stop by and test drive any of our all-wheel drive Kias and gear up for winter. Now offering 1.9% APR for up to 60 months on a new 2022 Kia K5, Seltos, Sorrentos, or Telluride. Bill Burr Kia is not only the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty, they're the home of the best customer experience anywhere. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKia.com. We make buying a car easy, and you'll enjoy the way we do business.
Offer from KMF for the purchase of a new 2022 K5, Seltos, Sorrento, or Telluride with $17.48 per 1,000 financed in 60 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Burr Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 1/31/22.
The
original J. Michael's Restaurant on Thomas Drive, Panama City Beach, serving Bay County and visitors from the U.S., Canada, and around the world since 1976. A little Southern, a little Creole, and a lot of hospitality. Come enjoy J. Michael's seafood platter, red beans and rice, the best gumbo on the beach, and the world-famous spaghetti night on Wednesdays. 3210 Thomas Drive, J. Michael's Restaurant.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. Doing what other stations can't. The Afternoon Underdogs is live and local. 850-215-6290.
Always be sure to listen for the dial tone.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back in the Rib Crib Radio Room, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. That right there was the 5 at 5. We greatly appreciate you all for listening in on our 5 picks of the evening. And now we're going to jump back into the NFL playoffs. The divisional series weekend that we had was probably one of the best round of NFL playoffs we've ever seen, including this exceptional game that came right down to the wire, which a number of them actually did. All of them came down to the wire.
Well, this one was completely unexpected the way it started, too. So.
Absolutely. So let's hop into the Rams and the Buccaneers game, another underdog victory. Old school, tell me about the game. Tell me what you thought about it. Could it or was it Brady's very last game?
I don't think it was, but it could be. The thing to me that what I kept seeing occur was Tom Brady, just typical Tom Brady. Somehow, some way, staying in a game, keeping his team in a game. The Rams helped a lot by putting the ball on the ground 4 times, but they were still there. And then Tom does what he does. A minute less, was it a minute 55 or minute 50 left? He hits it for 55 yards to Mike Evans. Bang, and you think, oh man, here we go. But then, Matt Stafford got his chance, and Cooper Kupp, the guy's unbelievable. I mean, he's not the fastest guy in the world. He's not Odell Beckham Jr. or any of that kind of stuff. He's just clutch. And he makes a big time right down the middle, the seam, right down the middle. They get the big win, the big kick, and they're headed off to the next round. And Tampa Bay is done for the year, and Tom Brady may be done for the career.
Yeah, and
hard
the
to
game
believe.
in itself is surprising. You never would have expected that this game you'd see Tom Brady throw 54 passes.
Yeah.
You might assume that it'd be a decently high-scoring game. It was a 57-point game, but to see 54 passes out of the GOAT is just surprising. But knowing that he can still, at 44 years old, lay out 54 passes and every one of them be a rifle. He's throwing rockets out there, or he's dropping dimes, like you said, on the 55-yard play to Mike Evans. We discussed earlier how it was just an unbelievably perfect pass. There was no
against Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, no change in stride. And it literally 3 plays after Jalen Ramsey had swapped over from the other side of the field to take Mike Evans because he was getting beat on short passes. He got beat on a 55-yard bomb. But I'm with you. I just don't see how Brady would go out like this. I don't necessarily think that he needs to go out with another Super Bowl championship, but I don't think that he would leave on such a tight loss. Maybe not making the playoffs or losing in a divisional championship. Yes, I could see one of those 2 situations or scenarios, but I'd be very surprised to see him, hang it up right now unless it's something that he's outside of football being asked to do, whether it's the kids or Giselle or starting as another company on top of TB12. He started the Brady brand recently, which has already been successful in its first week. It got me. But yeah, I just don't see it. LA, what do you think?
I don't see him hanging it up after this year. I mean, the best statistical performance he's had in a season, and he's doing it at 44. He's not Peyton Manning out there at 37, 38 throwing wounded ducks. The dude's still throwing BBs out there, and he can still put it on a dime. So I don't think this is the last we see of him. Talking to a lot of people this weekend after that game, and they're like, "Oh, well, Tom Brady, he needed these fumbles to get him back in it because he just didn't have it." I'm like, he just took advantage of the situation that was presented.
That's what he's always done.
And I mean, that's the thing you cannot do with Tom Brady. And of course, all the there's some talking heads out there and in the world that is this a conspiracy theory? They're trying to get Brady to move and advance on, and I don't think that was the case. It was just the Rams just couldn't hang on to the ball. It reminded me so much of watching the Bengals of old. The Bungles. They were doing everything they possibly could to lose that game. And give Tom Brady credit, he didn't fold. He's never going to fold. He's never going to give up. He fought tooth and nail, and he got him back from a 27-3 deficit to a 27-all tied game.
Right.
But it came down to, could Stafford rise to that occasion and make those plays? And, of course, he hits Cooper Kupp on the out, who ran a fantastic route. The defender fell down and gets out of bounds. And then he throws, I think, an even more impressive throw than what Brady had to Evans to Cooper Kupp to get him down there. So,
right,
great game.
I think that last series right there, that was, for me, we talk about defining moments. We brought it up in the other games. It's one of the things that I think is important in games, to know when things are changing. When is the momentum shift really happening? And I thought it was right there, 42 seconds left in the game. Brady just scored, and you think the momentum has shifted, right? And then they kick the ball off. Stafford gets the ball, and he gets sacked immediately. As soon as he gets the ball, he gets dropped for a 1-yard loss. So now it's 2nd and 11 with 35 seconds left. And, I mean, you have one of two choices right here. Either you fold to the pressure or you step up to it. And he just got sacked. He just got hit. The clock is running, and he hits Cooper Kupp with the 20-yard pass over the middle. And then, that puts him a little bit closer. But then the very next play, he gets the big 44-yard bomb to Cooper Kupp. That puts him at the 19-yard line. And like Old School said earlier, he coolly, calmly, and collectively jogged down to the line, looked back at his guys, gathered them, made sure everybody come to the line, and he got the ball spiked. And, man, was he excited when he did that. He went jumping and running off the field like it was the first time he ever won a football game.
Can I just say how humorous it was to watch all of these games go down to the wire, and every single game you saw the center or the player that had the ball literally hand it to the official for them to place it down. Like, that has been such an emphasis. Like, I can't imagine these locker rooms in these meeting rooms where they're like, okay, please don't pull a Dak on this one. Please don't do this when we're going down to the wire. And it was just funny to me watching, these players literally just running around trying to find the official. Put the ball down. Let's go. So I just thought it was a great juxtaposition between that and what the Cowboys went through.
I absolutely agree with
you. I felt bad for Tom because he was.
Can you really feel bad for the guy?
I mean, because you know how much it means to him. I mean, he's out there at his age because he loves it, and he loves to compete, and he loves to bring his team back. And here was the moment again. 3 touchdowns down. I mean, 3 scores down.
24 unanswered.
Yeah,
points.
24.
But
Here
he
comes.
rose to that moment. There was just too much time left on the clock.
No, it was the injuries to the offensive line where even the GOAT couldn't overcome that.
And that was another one of my questions: was that the difference maker in the game before the game even started?
Yes.
Is a Ronald Jones II being out a big deal? Your third down back, your big blocking back. Is having him out huge? Is Chris Godwin, your number 1 wide receiver? And granted, don't get me wrong, Mike Evans breaking records 8 consecutive years, the only wide receiver in history to come out of college and have 8 consecutive years receiving 1,000 yards in every year. But Godwin is still in a clear-cut number 1 on that team. Having him out, and then on top of it, having your 16 of your 18 game starting center out in Jensen is big, right? So is that not a possibility, at least for the reason why they lost?
And then, that's the side for Brady. Then you flip it around to what Michigan Eddie was talking about, Matt Stafford. All those years in Detroit. I think he had a total of 3 games, 3 playoff games. I know
0-3.
And here's the moment where they're fumbling the ball. They're snapping it by him. I mean, time after time where you would think it's just not supposed to happen. And then that moment comes. Okay, they score. They kick off. Oh, he gets sacked. And then bang, bang, big play. It's just the way Matt Stafford is. I mean, it's just the way that he has always been, which is big time, big game performer.
Yeah.
We got Coach Robert on the line, wants to chime in.
Good. Coach, how's it going today?
Pretty good.
Good. Glad to hear from you.
Good. And I'm glad to listen to the conversations. And all I want to say is, they talk about, like you guys just mentioned, the injuries that the Tampa had. Nobody wants to talk about Robert Woods, the receiver for the Rams, who's unbelievable, got speed. And how would that secondary, how would they would have dealt with Beckham? You got Cooper Kupp, and then if you had Robert Woods out there, just think of the headaches they would have had. And I think that they don't give enough credit to Stafford. I didn't think Brady played particularly well. I think he threw a lot. I thought he threw a lot of errant balls. But I just think it's a shame that they took it away from Stafford. Outplayed him. There's no question about it. He was the better quarterback. There's no doubt about it. And you mentioned also Cincinnati in '81, or you want to go back in '89 at the Super Bowls. In my opinion, I thought the GOAT was Joe Montana. Hands down, he was the greatest I ever saw. And, that they have all this, they're analyzing what makes a GOAT. Well, Brady is the most accomplished. There's no question about that. But it's still a team sport. Remember, football is not golf and it's not tennis. It's still a team sport. So what each quarterback brings to the table, that's how I rate a quarterback. Brady can beat you one way. He stands in that pocket and he throws the football. But you look at people like Aaron Rodgers, Joe Montana, Russell Wilson. And I'm not going to put Mahomes there yet or some other guys, because you got to do it for 10 years. You got to do it for 10 years, But when you look at the way these guys can beat you in different ways, Brady can't do that. And if one of those other quarterbacks that played this past weekend was playing in that game, they probably would have got out of a situation where Brady couldn't, and created situations, keep drives going, and keep the score going. But I just think that Montana, to me, watching Joe Montana, especially in that Super Bowl that you talked about, Phillips, yeah, he dropped the ball. But if you remember the first half of that game, the 49ers gave that game away. They should have blew him out the first half. John Taylor drops the ball on the 5-yard line. They were making one mistake after another. They let Cincinnati in that game, just like the Rams let the Tampa in that game. Hope I didn't talk too much, but want to hear all your comments on what I'm saying.
No, we appreciate the insight, and it's nice to hear somebody talk about the Bengals in a positive light, even though we lost that game. But you're right, we should have had that game in '89, and it's unfortunate it came down to whether or not Billups could hold on to the ball. But
like I said, sir, the first half of that game, the 49ers should have blew them out. I thought if you remember that game, we were dominating them, and we were just letting they would drop passes, mistakes being made.
Mm-hmm. That's football.
Okay, well, thank you anyway.
No, appreciate it.
Coach Robert, thank you very much for calling in. We greatly appreciate it, and thanks again for your perspectives, like Adam said. And now we're up against a break, guys, and we'll be right back to talk about the last of the 4 divisional playoff games, the Chiefs and the Bills, right after this break.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The Paul Feinbaum Show.
The head coach of the Auburn Tigers, Coach Bruce Pearl.
I think we're one of the top 20 teams in the country. You spend enough time in this state to know how special a place Auburn is. It's a really good place for kids to come. Small college town. Be surrounded by really good people. It's just been terrific to bring kids in. And we're still moving forward. This might be one of the better teams that I've ever coached. Excited about our team this year.
Best wishes this week and the rest of the season.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
At Slim Chickens, craft means something. Kraft means bacon, and oh so crispy. Kraft means a good cayenne kick, and all-natural buttermilk marinated, made fresh, perfectly fried chicken, all served on toasted brioche buns. At Slim Chickens, Kraft means quality, and for a limited time, try our new Memphis-style barbecue chicken sandwich. Try Slim's Kraft sandwiches today. Slim Chickens.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with today's Car Clinic Minute. Every era is known for its protests. In the 70s, it was anti-war. In the 80s, anti-fur. And when I come back, I'll peacefully demonstrate for a 90s revolution that's still the rage.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
on Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center in hometown towing.
As the saying goes, you've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. Well, Anti-Lock Braking Systems, or ABS, stands firmly for stopping and against locking. ABS originated in the aircraft industry where stopping big, fast planes on short runways is critical. Adapted for panic stopping in cars, this sophisticated system uses a computer to sense when wheels are about to lock, then automatically regulates braking action. Now don't protest. With anti-lock brakes, forget pumping. Just press firmly and let ABS do the rest. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
The #1 SEC call-in show is now twice as big. It's double the Paul Feinbaum Show. Weeknights starting at 6.
Okay, but also go faster.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. Live from the Rib Crib Studio, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And thank you so much for coming back to the Rib Crib Radio Room and joining us, the Afternoon Underdogs, today on this beautiful Monday evening. We're going to hop right into the Chiefs and Bills game after we discuss Coach Roberts' comments that we just had about the 49ers. And if I can be the one to jump in first, of course, I'll have to say that you're absolutely right that Joe Montana was more of a two-way capable player. He was more able to make things happen if he needed to, come outside the pocket or things like that. And Brady's definitely more solidified to the pocket.
But I think you're looking at two different generations, though, right? That's the reason Montana was so transcendent. It really wasn't done very much other than like Fran Tarkenton back in the day, and he did it at such a high level that there wasn't very much, the defenses could do, whereas today's game, you've got, talents like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes that we're getting ready to talk about where, they can do it with their legs and they still have the capability with their arm and they are cerebral. So,
and then you talk about the entirety of his career, having somebody that took in 22,000 yards of receptions the entire time he's throwing the ball. You have somebody like that with you, whereas Brady has put and pieced together no names and people out of their positions, a la an Edelman who was a quarterback.
Deion Branch, Wes Welker, the list goes on and on.
That you would never expect to, let alone get a second contract, become prolific players and move on to other teams and do good things for other teams. He did that with nobodies and brought home 7 Super Bowl championships and attended 10 total Super Bowl games. So for me, I agree to some aspect that he was a more prominent player in his particular era, but I do think that for me, Brady is the GOAT. Absolutely. And still goating.
I mean, I understand where people come from with the Montana because I was the victim of Montana. I was a Cowboys fan, right? Growing up, my uncle was drafted by the Cowboys. I was a Cowboys fan. And the catch. There was just all these plays that Joe Montana pulled off all the time, and it was
the Hall of Fame reel.
Yes, right. I mean it was unbelievable. Just big play after big play after big play after big play, and but what Montana had was he had the keys to the West Coast offense, which was an offense that was revolutionary,
ahead of its time, definitely.
So much so, and the ability to be able to throw the ball out to a running back. Before that, there was none of that.
Right.
I mean, before that, it was 30 yards down the field. It was the air raid type of things like what the Raiders did, what the Cowboys did with Bullet Bob Hayes, where it was just you threw the ball far down the field and not the dink and dunk, not the West Coast offense, where you basically take a running back and you throw them the ball and get them out in space. And that offense that he ran it to perfection. But it was it really him, or was it the offensive design?
Right. And like you said, I mean, it was so far ahead of its time.
Oh, it was.
I mean, it was an advanced style of play when the Greatest Show on Turf did it 12 years later.
Right.
And they were putting up unbelievable numbers then.
They were dynamic, absolutely.
And to think that Joe and Jerry and the guys were doing that a dozen years before that, pretty unbelievable.
And you look at as you were talking about, you got Jerry Rice, John Taylor, you got all these superstars that Joe was able to put the ball into his hands. Now, was he unbelievably cool? Yeah, he was. I mean, there's the famous story of the John Candy quote, from the Super Bowl.
Awesome.
All those moments where the moment was never too big for Joe. Even when the guy was breaking into his house.
Right.
And he just takes the bat, takes the gun away from the guy. I mean, the moment is never too big for Joe Montez.
Yeah, but has he ever had to come back from a 28-3 is what I want.
Well, speaking of moment never being too big, how about these two quarterbacks we saw last night?
I mean, what an unbelievable way to finish an unbelievable weekend of divisional playoff football.
13 seconds.
13 seconds. What is the difference between 13 seconds and 14 seconds?
Dak Prescott is the difference. There's your difference right there. I knew exactly where you were going.
You know where that was going.
Right.
I mean, just an unbelievable difference in play style,
but it was
coaching,
a bad
and decision making.
It was
exactly.
bad decision making. I'm sitting there. There's only 13 seconds left, and I'm like, squib the ball down the center of the field. I don't care what you do. Do not give him the full 13 seconds.
I mean, that's the worst decision that they have made since the last time they were in the Super Bowl.
I could not believe it.
That and not covering Tyreek Hill on that 60-yard touchdown.
He was double covered. He was double covered.
Right, but you've got to have coverage over top.
What do you do?
Yeah, that dude.
You got to put somebody 38 yards back every play.
In that situation, you do.
Kelsey runs a unique route based upon what he has been seeing, and he's wide open for another 19 yards.
Yeah. But like you said, had they made the intelligent decision on special teams to kick a squib kick, it would have at the very least alleviated a minimum of one of those plays. So they would have had to have attained at least 40, 50 yards on one individual play, stop the clock,
correct,
and then get a field goal off.
Or you leave him for a Hail Mary.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And then who knows what's going to happen.
But to just let him go back, go be the Grim Reaper? Come on. I mean, there was just...
That was a good line, though.
It might be one of the best lines of all time.
It's right up there with, I guess we're going to the AFC Championship.
It is a great line, but, I mean, if you're going to be in a grim situation, you might as well be the Grim Reaper.
Right.
But it was still just a horrible coaching decision. It ranks right up there with run the ball.
Caveman Rick said that's like the New York Giants kicking the ball to Deshaun Jackson for the Miracle at the Meadowlands 2.0 finale. Yeah.
And they brought it up during the game last night. It's funny that you say that, Caveman, because you're right. It's the similarities.
Yeah. Why?
It's just
you sit back and you go, why?
Why?
But how about Mahomes? Yeah. I mean, the throw that he made sidearm. I know we've seen some sidearm throws from him and other quarterbacks.
Was that
but the one that went around the defender, I mean, just the dude is unreal. All right.
Let's talk about
he looked
both
like,
of
it was
these
like a messy kick.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was like watching. What was that movie, Wanted, where they're curving the bullets? That's what it looked like.
But I mean, we've seen over the years, we've seen great quarterback matchups, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen Staubach versus Terry Bradshaw.
You have. I haven't.
I saw that.
Right.
We've seen just great quarterback play, and then we saw what we saw last night, which might be the greatest performance of quarterback play.
Because when they
in the
needed
last
it,
minute in whatever second.
Because when they needed it, they had it.
They had it.
Yeah,
and that was incredible to watch. Josh Allen throwing BBs, and then the designed runs.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a couple of them that I thought, okay, he's going to tackle for a loss, and then he jumps over his own man and a defender and goes out of bounds. And it's just unfreaking real.
I think I'd be remiss not to bring up probably the most impressive portion of the game, and that would be Gabriel Davis, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
4 receptions for touchdowns.
4 of his 8 receptions, so 50% of his catches all were touchdowns. And we're talking about a kid that only had 2 on the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable, 201 yards, averaging just over 25 yards per reception. And then on top of it, he's a Florida boy, right? Born in Florida, Fernandina
UCF,
Beach,
right?
Went to UCF.
Yeah.
They started as a true freshman. Left after his junior year because he probably thought that he had achieved pretty much all that he could achieve. 12 touchdowns in 12 games, just an unbelievable junior year. Hard to repeat that and still get the same draft capital that you had. So he got drafted, didn't really do much, and then just went off in this game. His outside-in move that he did on 3 of those touchdowns literally left the guys, and the 2 of the guys he left in the dust, one guy fell down from an inside-out move. It was just unbelievable. And to think that he is as young as he is, we might see some more out of this.
Right, and I think, and I'm not taking anything away from the kid. It was phenomenal what he did, but I think the availability of Gabriel Davis was definitely impacted by, Kansas City taking away Stephon Diggs.
Absolutely.
Because Diggs did not have the game that we all thought he was going to have. Absolutely. Everybody sees that picture of him, last year standing on the field watching the Chiefs celebrate, and then, he doesn't have a big game. And then you see Davis step up and have a big game. But how about these numbers just for Josh Allen? Let's go to Josh Allen real quick. Almost 900 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 200 and something yards. I think it's like 217 on 17 carries. That is crazy.
Yeah, but
in the playoffs.
900 total yards, 200 of them rushing on 17 attempts, and no turnovers.
And when we start talking about GOATs, right? When we start talking about that, when that phrase comes up, it's because of the moment is never too big, right? And what we saw last night for both of the quarterbacks, both Mahomes and Allen, is the moment. Whether it was 13 seconds, whether it was 15, 48 seconds, or whatever it was, it didn't matter to them. Mm-hmm. Just give me the ball, and there was a moment when Tyreek Hill runs forever, at blazing speeds, and you see Josh Allen just turn around and kind of give it this, like, all right, now the ball's back in my hands.
Let me have a shot.
Let me go have my shot. And you could see it. I mean, it was just like, now that, to me, I'm sitting there, I've been watching football for a long, many decades, and I'm like, I'm not sure that we will ever see a quarterback performance on the opposite sides.
Dual performance.
Dual and go the way that those two guys went in that last quarter.
Yeah, like you said, and especially to end the game, the last minute, 54 seconds, back to back touchdowns.
Unbelievable.
And then the huge set of downs that brought that 49-yard field goal to tie the game. Just unbelievable weekend of football. Really finished off with just probably the best game we've probably ever seen in the playoffs.
Yeah. One of the best.
Absolutely. Top 3, I would say, right now, without even thinking about the other ones. We could probably easily go into your history for that and probably think of a couple of them, or maybe even Coach Robert. But we'll discuss a little bit more when we come back, guys, a little bit of the local segment, and we'll talk about the AFC and NFC championship games and what we expect out of them.
Weather forecast: overnight clouds will lower and thicken, chance of showers by dawn. Overnight temperature 42 to 48, light southwest winds. With an east wind at 10 to 15 miles per hour Tuesday, clouds and showers around 53 degrees. 55 to 60, partly to mostly sunny Wednesday with gusty winds in the forecast. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, best little lumber yard in Panama City and Youngstown. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
It's back. Keep listening for your chance to win $1,000 in the Grand Slam of Cash. Listen for the code word weekday mornings at 8:45 during the Coach James Hale Show and at 4:45 with the Afternoon Underdogs. When you hear the code word, enter it at ESPNPC.com or on the 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida app. There will be 2 $1,000 winners every week.
$1,000 in cash. Wow.
And the Grand Slam of Cash.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
If you're running an online business and you don't feel you're getting enough new customers every day, then I want you to claim a free copy of my new book right away. Inside this book, you'll find everything you need to get more new customers consistently using my proven and powerful E5 method. Hi, my name is Todd Brown, and for the past 2 decades, I've been showing entrepreneurs, from complete beginners to millionaire business owners, how to rapidly fill any business with new customers using a method called the E5 Customer Acquisition Protocol. I've just packaged it into a brand new book, and I'm going to send you a copy today, absolutely free. I promise this book will forever end any struggles you have getting new customers to buy from you daily. But hurry, only a limited number of free copies are available. Text the keyword E5Method to 63566. Text E5Method to 63566. One more time, text the keyword E5Method to 63566.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. You're riding shotgun with the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to need some gas money. The Afternoon Underdogs.
Fill her up, please.
At 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back into the Rib Crib Radio Room. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. It's your boy Boston T. We got LA Adam Goff on the boards and my man Old School in the building. We're going to go ahead and jump into the local scores so we can have a couple of minutes to talk about that Auburn-Kentucky game here to wrap up the day. So Old School, we had a big wrestling tournament this weekend. You want to give the guys the scores on the wrestling tournament that we had?
Yeah, the Mulligan Memorial Tournament team results. Fort Walton Beach took down the top spot with 287.5 points. Niceville at 241.5 points. South Walton at 212. Mosley at 206. North Bay Haven, a good showing at 148.5. And Florida High School at 143.5.
And, of course, guys, there was about 20 more teams that ended up playing, but that's your top 5 or 6 squads right there. We'll jump right into the girls' high school basketball. Bay went over to Rutherford and got annihilated 63-32. A relatively good game. Lincoln going over to Holmes got beat by 10 in a 59-49 game. And for high school boys basketball, we saw Fort Walton Beach drive over to Rutherford and get beat 79-61. We saw Mosley visiting Ricards, where they lost 57-34. Cottondale, in a very close game against Bethlehem, lost by 2 points, 44-46.
Men's JUCO basketball, we have Gulf Coast took on Pensacola. It came away with a victory 67-63. Chipola took down Northwest Florida 50-47. And in women's JUCO, Gulf Coast gets a big victory over Pensacola 72-62. And Chipola takes down Northwest Florida 52-50.
All right, so a couple of great games for Gulf Coast College for the boys and girls. Congratulations on those W's. Congratulations on Mosley for just about breaking the top 3 in the wrestling tournament, finishing 4th just outside the top 3. So congratulations to you guys and all the other schools that did well. Now, before we jump into it, I did want to say, and I'd be remiss not to, mention the fact that our local Mosley alum Enrique Davis was hired as a running back coach at your very own LA, the Western Kentucky University.
Yeah, that's my alma mater. Go Tops.
Congratulations to him.
And congratulations to him, absolutely.
Yeah, pretty exciting to have one of our locals make it to Division I, so pretty awesome. Now, if you guys don't mind, I want to talk about this Auburn-Kentucky game. What an unbelievable game that we saw. It definitely was a higher scoring game than expected. I think, the last 5 or 6 games that Auburn played, the over-under was looking at 150 to 155 points. They had this one all the way down at 142 points, and they blew it out of the water, right? A 80 to 71 game finishing, 151 points, so almost 10 points over the over-under. And just a strong, strong game, right? We were talking about it on the break and really before the show started, and there was a couple players that really stood out for you. Let's talk about those players.
Well, we were all looking forward to this so much because Auburn has really been on a run. They have so much talent. Jabari Parker, Kessler, they got so much. But we were really going to get tested. They were going to get. We're an affiliate for Auburn basketball. This was going to be a big time test. Right. Having Kentucky come in, big time, and it was a great game. Kentucky really kind of controlled the first half. Had a nice, comfortable lead. Ty Washington rolls his ankle, and then in the second half, it was like, wow. I mean, Auburn really came to play, really worked the ball very well. It kind of had an inside-out game going between Kessler and Jabari Parker, back and forth, and
Jabari Smith,
And just so impressive, incredibly impressive performance by Auburn. Got the comfortable lead, made their free throws. I really loved listening to the broadcast because the Sonny, Coach Sonny, they call him. It was so cool to hear him keep saying, defend without fouling. Defend without fouling, because that was the difference maker.
Right.
Kentucky would foul. We would go to the free throw line and make the shots, whereas Auburn was really able to play defense with their feet, not with their hands.
Right.
And that's what was the big difference maker.
And to add to that, the rebounding. Yes. I mean, they out-rebounded a Kentucky team that has a guy by the name of Oscar Shibwe that I think is leading the nation in rebounding, and the dude is an absolute monster down low.
He is.
So for, Auburn to be able to stay with Kentucky on the boards, and like you said, not foul. I mean, you look at the free throw discrepancy, you're looking at 24 made versus Kentucky's 10 shot. Mm-hmm. So, there's a really big difference there. But, for me, you're looking at Auburn as a team that I know they got 24 points from the free throw line, but they had 15 assists on 25 made field goals. They shot 54% for the game. They did what they had to do. Kentucky's going to do what they do. Mm-hmm. It's how well can you match them, and then what can you use to your advantage? And they used the free throw line, and they used the boards.
And they were very good at limiting the number of shots, mm-hmm. Second shots for Kentucky. I just thought defensively they played really solid in the second half. Kessler is very impressive to be 7'2".
Absolutely.
He's incredibly impressive. But just the intensity that was in that gymnasium.
Yeah, I think
it was awesome.
I think you'll hear from the senator when we have him on tomorrow or on Wednesday how impressed he was with the fact that we overcame adversity, right? We saw that we were down 4 points going into the half. We only scored 29 points in the first half. We average about 40. So we're well below what we're averaging, 29 points. And then we start off the second half on a 2-11 run, dropping us down to being back 11 points, right? And then we came back from that. And not only did we come back from it, but we gave ourselves a 10-point lead. So a complete flip around when they could have just, fallen to the wayside and given up to probably a more skilled overall team in Kentucky. They're younger and probably more skilled, but Auburn is just a stronger team. They played better together. And actually, I would say that they probably have more ready-to-go NBA players on their squad right now as well.
I would agree with that. I mean, there was a big injury that took place with Ty that really hurt Kentucky. But it was just the way that Auburn really attacked them, and I thought it was from a overall. If you're evaluating, man, it was an impressive performance on the part of Auburn, and looking forward to them going a pretty good distance in the tournament.
Well, I thought in the first half, the way they ended the first half really, really kind of put them. I know it wasn't the start they were looking for in the second half, but the alley-oops and the dunks that they had leading into halftime, taking it from an 8 to a 4, they battled and they stayed close and they just gave themselves a chance. Because Kentucky didn't play poor. They shot 50% from the field.
Had they not have probably the deepest team in all of college basketball, they would have lost that game.
Sure.
But they're probably the most consistent team that plays 9 guys, sometimes 10 double-digit minutes or more. Mm-hmm. And you saw that in this game, 8 guys getting 17 minutes or more. And that really is a huge difference maker.
Just loved seeing a really good defense played, but yet there's a lot of that game played above the rim.
Mm-hmm. 100% between Kessler and Smith and all them. Okay.
I got one more question if we can hop off of this. I'd like to know what you guys think after watching this divisional series, NFL playoffs. Does this show us or prove to us that the college football playoffs need to have 8 teams?
40 seconds.
No. Because the NFL has parity, college cannot control parity.
Understandable. I like that perspective. What do you think, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the two correlate. I don't think you can look at the NFL and say, yeah, we need this in college, because you're not going to be able to duplicate it.
Agreed. Yeah, I saw it on a lot of chats, and people are bringing it up, and immediately for me, I'm the same way. I just don't agree. It's just not the same. The level of skill is so much more in despair in college than there is in the close-knit 32 solo teams.
Kids versus grown men.
Absolutely. Well, again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon with the Afternoon Underdogs. We greatly appreciate you, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Mike Greenberg. This is Greeny.
The Browns drafted Baker Mayfield, and the Jets drafted Sam Darnold ahead of Josh Allen. Look what Allen has become. The Jets let Darnold walk after 3 years. The Browns are trying to figure out what to do with Baker, and picked up the option to give him another contract. And Josh Allen is right now arguably the best player in the NFL.
Weekday afternoons from 2 till 4. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hello, Rick Vossen with Stormore Portable Buildings, located at Panama City Mall on Highway 231 side. If you're shopping for a portable building, whether it be a portable building for storage, whether it be for office space, a garage, or a cabin out on